Hi there, I'm Kylie Mowbray Allen from Hello Media.
And I'm Jenny Walk from Elephant in the Room Consulting, and you're tuning into Bite-Sized Business Life Podcast, the show that helps business owners get clarity and insight to grow their dream business.
Whether you're launching, ready to scale, or figuring out what's next, we discuss the nitty-gritty, the hard bits, the opportunities, and the behind the scenes, and share how we've grown our own companies and helped others do the same.
We're glad you're here.
Morning where you are, afternoon where I am. It's quite a chilly day today, but beautifully sunny, and I'm loving being here. What about you in sunny Queensland?
It's sunny but cold, and I know that's not really cold. It's Brisbane cold, but it's still cold. I have Ugg boots on. I've had them on since I got home from gym this morning at 7 o'clock. So I'm trying to warm up. But it's sunny and windy today, but it's been a crazy weather for us here in Brisbane. It's unusually cold.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. But I have had 9 days of COVID. I'm feeling pretty human today, which is nice. But it has been a rotten journey. But how lovely to I also gave it to my mum, which was unfortunate after a few days. But we could just snuggle up on the couch together and binge watch Heart of Dixie.
Oh my God, I haven't seen Heart of Dixie for years. Such a great show, though.
She hadn't seen it either. So I was like, this is perfect. It doesn't require any brain usage on my part. I had it way worse than she did. And it was just really nice to have that little bit of snuggly time together.
Oh, that's
so I have a fire going, all that good stuff. But it's good to be back in the land of the living for sure, because it's not a fun place to be.
And it's nice to see you back. First week of the new financial year, the new year for most small businesses who operate in the financial year. Big week for us. I mean, it's that whole conversation, right? We're having in businesses. We're doing some rebranding. We're building some new landing pages. We're doing a whole lot of redesign on our programs like our Empire Builders, and particularly because it's coming up in August. And it's that great time of year. I love this time of year. Weather aside, it's that time that we get to reflect and review and decide, what are we going to do? What are our goals for this financial year going to look like? How are we changing the business? How are we actually growing it? And, what are we going to focus on? So I'm so excited about the conversation we're having today, which is looking at our focus in terms of what we're marketing strategy for this financial year. So many people don't do it at the end of the year. We talk about doing it from March to June, but we know that most people don't. It's now the perfect time to be looking at your marketing strategy, don't you think?
Yes, I really, really think so. So there's lots of things we can do at this time of the year. I feel like I'm on the back foot, actually, because I had set aside a big chunk of last week to be doing we love to get stuck into looking at the overall big picture. I'd done a lot of preparation for last week so that I would restructure our pricing. And then I got super sick, so I didn't do it. So here we are already at the middle of the next week and the new financial year started, and none of that has happened. So I'm bummed about that. But on the other hand, really excited that a lot of the other things I've done in preparation, like looking at our marketing strategy and what are we changing going forward, looking at all kinds of things, website audits and stuff like that. This is my massive year, and last year was too, for getting more accessible online and helping our clients get more accessible. So really keen to talk to you about that over the coming weeks. There's all kinds of audits you can do just on how accessible your website is, for example. So that's cool. But today, talking about 3 things. There's many, many more things, of course, but 3 things that we can all do for our marketing strategy to make big, bold decisions moving forward.
And your first tip for the day is right up my alley, because it's one of the things I talk about all the time when we talk with our clients. What's the first tip in terms of reviewing your marketing strategy for this year, Kylie?
Well, we can't look at what we want to change and what we want to do going forward until we've looked back. So we are so lucky that with all of the platforms that we use with social media, they all have built-in analytics tools. So yes, we can go to other platforms. We can look at Hootsuite, Agorapulse, all of those kind of places to see our analytics. But why don't we just go native and go and look at Meta Business Suite? If you're using Facebook and Instagram, jump in there, or even just Instagram. Go into the back end of Instagram and take a look at how you're actually performing, because you cannot make decisions until you know what's working really, really well for you.
It is such an important aspect, though. I mean, people talk about, looking at data and setting goals, and we know we're going to talk about setting goals as well, but looking back and understanding what worked well and what didn't, particularly when it comes to social posts, because those analytics that are native to things like Meta and even Google Analytics they're able to tell you which pages are performing well, which posts are performing well, what your customers are interested in hearing from you about. And if you're not using that data to build your future strategies, you're missing out on so much important information.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And why would you just keep going along? And let's face it, whether you're spending money on someone else doing your socials for you, or whether you're investing all that time and energy into it yourself, it's a whole lot of waste of time if you don't actually know why you're doing what you're doing. So that brings me on to point number 2, which is setting your objectives or setting your goals for what you want to be doing with your marketing strategy. Now, I know we're pretty much just focusing on social media, but this does really involve all of your digital marketing. But let's talk socials today. What are you actually there for? Are you trying to build up and grow in terms of leads? Are you just really trying to do an awareness campaign? One of the clients I was talking with this morning is she has some amazing results with user-generated content. So when she asks for her customers to share a picture of themselves wearing her product, it's extraordinary the kind of photos that they send. And then, of course, that gives her loads of content to be able to use going forward. So that's a great strategy for her, is about that customer service piece. So what is your goal for why you're on social media? What are you actually wanting to achieve with the time you're investing in that platform?
I think it's that in itself, that conversation around goals. It's not just goals generally. It's what do we see? Because goals is always looking at what we're trying to achieve, right, in terms of metrics. And we're often saying, I want to get X number of followers, or I want to get X, Y, Z. But if that's not aligning with why you're there in the first place, you're going to have there's going to be a disconnect between achieving those goals, the work you do, and the platform itself. And Instagram's a really great example. Is it about views, or is it about the number of followers? And we know followers these days are an interesting metric because people can buy followers. And if you're using that purely as your metric, is it really the right metric that you're looking at if it's just about followers? Or, as you always talk about, is it about engagement? Are we getting the likes? Are we getting the forwards? Are we getting the shares? Are we getting the comments on those posts? So when we understand that, and I love the way you've described that today, when we understand that, it allows us to set goals that are really meaningful for us.
Absolutely. So we've been having some great growth success on some of our socials for ourselves and also for some of our clients in the last few months. And a lot of that has been around our goal, which was to really nail the new hashtag strategy. So Instagram, for example, has given us all kinds of new opportunities for everybody with hashtags. So to actually be utilizing that and seeing incredible results has been awesome. So looking at, okay, if I'm not getting the comments and the shares and the likes and stuff, what can I do then to reach new audiences? And obviously we've got to look at how can we improve our posts to get that engagement, but then also how can we reach new people that actually want to absorb what we're putting out there. So a really good hashtag strategy could be one of your goals that you're setting for yourself for socials for the next 6 months.
But also, it's not just about the goals. We then just have to actually set our milestones and put them into a manageable perspective. I think it's also then looking at the action. So the goals are great. Let's talk about engagement. Let's talk about, increase new audiences. But then what are you actually doing in that? And I love that idea of saying that, the hashtag campaign, that's going to enable you to reach that goal. So it's not just looking at the goal, but also what are you actually going to do to reach that? What are the steps and the milestones that you want to actually record or follow to make sure that you're working towards that goal? Because a goal is great, but we want to know the steps, don't we? And a strategy is about the plan. It's the actual steps that you're going to do, not just the fun bit at the end.
Absolutely. So working out what are 3 things that you want to try differently this year, once you've looked at your analytics, of course,
Yep.
And then working out 3 steps for each one of those 3 things that you want to do, that how you're actually going to get there, what you're going to do. So again, that a new hashtag strategy is a great thing to do, but then break that down into 3 things. What are you going to do to find out how to do these new hashtags, or how to approach a hashtag strategy in a different way than you ever have before?
Yeah, I love that. And I love that, 3 goals and 3 steps for each goal, then 3 steps and then 3 actions for each of those is a really simple way. And it follows that beautiful way that I like to do in terms of that ladder approach. Start at the back end and work backwards. Don't try and start, what do I need to do today to reach? You don't know it, right? So having that opportunity to say, well, I know what I'm trying to achieve. I know the key actions or strategies I want to take, then I know the actual steps I need to do that. That gives you a really clear plan. And it doesn't have to be complex, does it? It can be, on a really simple Excel spreadsheet or a piece of A4 paper that sits in front of your computer. It doesn't need to be a complex strategy. It just needs to be an actionable one.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And the third one that I think was in terms of this 3-point new marketing strategy for the new financial year, the third one is going to be reverse engineering what your competitors are doing. Now, a lot of people take a look at, say we've got a competitor that we think is doing really, really well, and we've always got to remember we actually don't know how people are doing. We might think they've got more followers than we have, or they might be raving about their customers or their clients or their sales or whatever, but we actually don't know the truth of what's going on. But if we can take a look at their strategies, figure out what they're doing, what they do well and what they're not doing so well, and also look at what are you doing that's completely different and how can you shine a light on that. I'm going to read you a prompt that we worked on in our Action Takers group coaching this morning. This is a prompt that we wrote and we all put it in and to see what it came back with. And I'll give you a little example of one. So one of our clients is involved in the stamp collecting industry. So the prompt was, who are my main competitors in the stamp collecting industry in Australia? And how do they compare to our Canberra Philatelic Society of Stamp Collectors? You can find out about what we offer and who we are here, and we've put in his website. And the response is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So it sums up what he does really, really well. And then it sums up what his competitors do well. And then it also tells him what they do well in comparison to what he's doing and what he's doing that's different. And then it says another summary came underneath exactly what it is that he's doing differently and what he should shine the light on for himself. Now, that's just one example of a prompt and using the paid version of ChatGPT, so you can put the website in there. But my goodness, even just to start with that alone, to give you an idea, so it listed 3 different competitors. So you could then go and look. So then we took one of those competitors and we went straight to their Facebook page, and we could see that they hadn't posted in 2 years. So they had a phenomenal amount of followers, but they weren't utilizing these incredible opportunities. So to even just look at that, and it was literally like in a 3-minute window to look at their Facebook at the end of our session. And I went, so now's your opportunity. Go and look at their website, see what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, even things like how fast their pages are loading, etc. Go and take a look at all their social channels, sign up to their newsletter list and see what's coming at you. So I think often when we talk about competitors, people think it's so that they can go and copy what they're doing, but it's not. It's to look at what strategies they're using and then to really highlight what it is that's unique about what they do and what we do differently.
I love how you've described that really simple activity. When we're doing business coaching, we talk about a SWOT analysis, which I used to hate. And we all, I used to hate the idea of a SWOT analysis. It seemed very, frustrating and time consuming. But I break it down to say, what are the things that you're doing internally that's helping you or hindering you? And what is your external market doing that's hindering or that's an opportunity for you, or as a potential threat or kind of a risk to you? And that's essentially what you've described, from an external perspective, looking at your customers and saying, what are the opportunities that they're taking advantage of through their marketing? Where are they potentially going to actually rival you? But then where are your opportunities? Like that one you just said, someone with a great Facebook following, but not utilizing it, or they sign up to the newsletter and they're not getting a newsletter. That engagement, there's an opportunity to capitalize on better engagement in the market. And if you're doing that better than your competitor, you're always going to be ahead. So you can actually do that concept of a SWOT analysis, or reflecting inwards and then reflecting outwards about what those opportunities are, is a really great way to understand where you're in the market. As you said, it's not just about copying, it's really understanding where your niche sits and how you're being seen by the market.
Absolutely. And I know we've all got at least one competitor we could just think of off the top of our heads that we maybe think is really awesome and they're doing so well, but probably it's just that they're really vocal on social media and that they're out there all the time. But actually, if you go and then study what else is going on, maybe there's some good things you can learn from them, because we don't all want to be super vocal on social media.
No, and I think that it's a really great point to recognize that what we're seeing publicly is not how the business is always operating.
Yes.
There's a couple of companies that I met when I was over in Gatherama for in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago now. And it was really interesting talking to a number of these businesses who are really, showing up on social media, saying they're all these amazing things. And then when we're sitting around, the water cooler essentially and having a conversation, it's like, well, I'm not really good here and I don't really know what's going on there. So I think it's really important to, when you're looking at what your competitors are doing, have a look at how, not just what they're doing, but how they're actually delivering it and what they're saying about their customers, and whether that's customer reviews or whether that's actually doing a bit of a blind test and doing a secret shopper, right? Getting somebody to do a secret shopper with your customers is a great way to see how they're tracking and actually understand what that process looks like, because it may highlight for you something that's quite unique and different that you're doing that allows you then to capitalize and use that in your marketing strategy about your differentiator, right? Whether it's that engagement piece or that community piece. So many people talk about community online, but when you actually join a program, it's like occasionally you'll get an email and occasionally there'll be a Facebook post, but it's not a real community. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean to their customers? And how can you maybe do that better? And I think I love that idea of reverse engineering your competitive strategies, because you get to work out what you want to do well, what they're doing well, and how you can actually, separate and step away from that, or separate yourself from what they're doing.
Totally. And just remember about that vanity metrics issue. So it's not about how many followers you've got or they've got. So one thing I love to show to our clients is that competitor might show that they've got 50,000 followers or 1 million followers, but go and look at their engagement. Are they getting like 5 likes, 0 shares, 0 comments? Well, then let's go and take a look at who those followers are. And chances are they're bought followers. They're actually not going to be of any value to them. So don't get sucked in by, I've got to have big numbers. And actually remember, you'd rather have 100 great followers that are really interested than 10,000 that aren't.
That's right. You want raving fans. You don't just want people kind of liking you, or following your site for the sake of it. You really want those raving fans who are going to talk about it, see what you do, and share the joy with you as you grow. So I love those 3 things that you've shared today. And I just want to recap. So most importantly, looking back at your analytics from last year, we have to know what we've done in the last year or 2 years to see how we can change or improve, or what we need to improve, or what we can tweak. And if it's all, if your metrics are amazing, you're getting great engagement, then it's really about tweaking. It's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about tweaking what you have. So most importantly, starting with those analytics, I think, so critical. And then you talked about goals, and we're both aligned with the importance of goals, but identifying what you want to achieve and those actions, and goals being the strategies that you're doing to achieve what you want to achieve, and those key strategies that you're doing. That hashtag piece, I love. The team are going to probably go off and do that for me in the next couple of weeks, because I love that idea about deep diving, particularly as those analytics are changing, right? The algorithm keeps changing. You share that so much in your programs, that constant change. So maybe one of your goals is to keep up to date with, the changes in the market. That in itself is a really critical goal as an action to make sure you're still, meeting the needs of your customers. And then that last piece, absolute gold, re-engineering what your customers are doing, what your competitors are doing, and re-engineer their competitor strategies to work out how you can set yourself apart and how you can niche, so that you show up in a more attractive to your customers.
And unique. You're not trying to be like them. You're trying to showcase what's different about you.
I love that. How we all can be unicorns, right?
Love it. Yes, absolutely.
So what is one tip if somebody's listening to this and going, oh my God, there's a lot there. We've talked about analytics and goals and reverse engineering competitive strategies. What's the one thing you want people to do today if they listen to this? What's the one thing you want business owners who are listening going, I need to develop my new marketing strategy for this year? Tell us the tip for that they need to do right now.
It's 100% your analytics. You cannot make any decisions about what you're doing until you've looked at how it's gone for you so far. So even going to your Google business profile and looking at your performance and comparing it to for example, June 2023 and June 2024. Just look at the two difference. We did that with a client yesterday and it was down 45%. And she said, that's 100% spot on. This is in terms of traffic to our website. She said, that's exactly what's happening in our restaurant, actually. We are down 45%. So we were looking at what can we do? How can we change this? What would be some new ideas, some new strategies? And one of those would be getting visible on social media, for example. So, yeah, it's quite astounding when you look at what's actually happening, how you're performing, to actually then be able to make some really solid plans to move forward with.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing tips as always. I know you're probably going to put a blog out in the next couple of days that are going to help cement some of these key pieces for refining your marketing strategy for the next financial year. But make sure you take some time. If there's too much, pause it, go away, do your analytics, come back, talk about the goals, go away, come back. This is a great resource for anybody who's wanting to develop your marketing strategy for 24, 25 and beyond. And if the whole next year is too much, just think about what you're going to do in the next 3 months and look at your year by 3 monthly. You don't need to set in stone your plan for the whole year. Look at it at a quarterly perspective. 1st of July to the 30th of September. Let's start, to the 30th of August. September, I was right. Let's start there. My brain is a bit quiet. I'm cold, I think, for this quarter. And then you can do it again at the start of October. So you can do your marketing strategy quarter by quarter. You don't need to jump all in for the full year. Start small and start getting into the habit of looking at your analytics, setting their goals, and checking in with what your customers are doing. And that's going to make some huge changes in your business.
You know, you would be crazy if you tried to set a strategy for a whole year anyway, because the changes are just mad. So I think I'm absolutely with you. 3 months, that's pretty much it that you should be focusing on. What have I done in the last 3 months? Or what did I do in the 3 months of the same quarter last year? And what am I going to do for the next 3 months?
Yeah. Love it. Thank you, Kylie. It's so nice to see you. So great to hear that you are feeling much better after you're being unwell with COVID the last week or two. We're very excited that you can still join us from New Zealand, but we'll see you again next week. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of Bite-Sized Business Life Podcast. Before we go, though, we need to make sure we shout out our socials so we can catch up with Kylie at hellomedia.team at your website. Is that right?
Yes, and through that you can find Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, etc. So yeah, jump onto hellomedia.team. And what about for Elephant in the Room?
Where elephantintheroomau.com is the best place to find us, to see our website. And then from there, you can find all our socials. Otherwise, Elephant in the Room AU across all the social platforms, and connect with us. And you can learn about our Empire Builders program in August and see some of the things that we've been doing around the world. We're off to New York next week for a workshop. So we'll be traveling again as of Wednesday, but excited to probably chat to you early in the week next week. But more travels from overseas, which will be excited. A bit jelly with you over in New Zealand going, I'm getting the travel bug again. So I'm excited.
Very awesome. New York, woohoo. How exciting, Jenny.
Great to see you. Take care, everyone. Be sure to subscribe and follow us so you don't miss any future episodes. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Bite-Sized Business Life Podcast. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.